As a doctor, there are 5 specific vaccines that I would never ever under any circumstances put into my own body. And the most curious thing about this, the part that should really make you stop what you're doing and listen to me, is that if you are over the age of 60, there is a very high chance that you are going to your local pharmacy every single year, and you are specifically asking for one of these. You are asking for them because you think you are doing the right thing. You think you are protecting your health, you think you are being a good student of medicine for your family. But the reason I avoid these 5 shots is not the reason you might be imagining right now. This has absolutely nothing to do with conspiracy theories. It has nothing to do with a lack of trust in medicine or some hidden agenda against the science. Actually, it is the complete opposite. My decision to stay away from these 5 specific shots is based on the most advanced, most cutting-edge science that exists in the world today. And knowing this one secret, this one simple version 2.0 truth, could literally be the thing that saves your life in the next few months. In the next few minutes, I am not just going to tell you what these 5 vaccines are, that an updated doctor shouldn't even be suggesting to you anymore. I'm going to explain the massive, terrible mistake that thousands of seniors are making every single day. And most importantly, I'm going to give you the alternative. I'm going to give you the version 2.0. I'm going to give you the modern, safe, and incredibly powerful versions that I actually recommend to my own wife, my own parents, and my highest risk patients. This isn't a video meant to scare you. This is a video meant to give you power. I want you to have the knowledge so that the next time you sit down with your doctor, you don't just sit there like a student waiting for a grade. You will know exactly what names and what technologies to demand so that your body gets the absolute best protection that exists on the planet. Because in the medicine of the 21st century, it's about doing it the smart way. So what is the big secret? Why would a doctor like me, someone who has spent his life studying how to keep people out of the hospital, reject vaccines that have been on the market for 30 years? The answer is so simple that when you finally hear it, you're going to be shocked that they aren't talking about this on every news channel in the country. The reason I'd never touch these 5 habits is because for every single one of them, a better version now exists. An alternative that is stronger, that lasts much longer, and that is specifically designed for the immune system of someone who is over 60 years old. I want you to think about it like this. Imagine you have a cell phone from 15 years ago. You remember those? The old flip phones with the tiny grainy screens and the buttons you had to click 3 times just to type one letter. Sure, that phone could make a phone call, it worked for what it was. But would you choose that old plastic brick today over a modern smartphone? Would you give up your high-definition camera, your maps, and your video calls with your grandkids just to use that old flip phone? Of course you wouldn't, that would be crazy. Well, in the world of medicine, the exact same thing is happening right now. Science is moving so incredibly fast that the vaccines that were the gold standard 10 or 20 years ago have been totally passed by. We have new technologies now that offer you a shield. The problem is that many clinics and even some doctors are just stuck in the past. They are still handing out the flip phone version of medicine because of habit or because they haven't read the latest research from this year. And the fatal mistake, the one that lands people in the ICU, is when a patient like you accepts that old version without asking questions, thinking that a vaccine is just a vaccine. But I'm telling you, the difference between the old version and the new version I'm going to show you today is the difference between a quiet, healthy winter at home or ending up in a hospital bed because your protection was too weak to stand up to the real world. Now, there is one thing you have to understand. It's a concept that explains why all 5 of these vaccines are failing the people who need them most. Doctors use a big word for it, immunosenescence, but let's keep it simple for our purposes. Think about a security guard at a building. When that guard is 30 years old, he's fast, he's sharp, he's alert. If someone tries to sneak in who shouldn't be there, he's on them in seconds. He builds a strong memory of the threat. Now, take that same guard at 65 or 70. He's still a good man. He's still trying his best, but his reflexes are slower. His memory isn't as sharp. If you show him a blurry photo of a criminal, he might nod his head, but he's probably going to forget that face. Your immune system is that security guard. As we age, our internal army gets a little bit tired. The soldiers are slower, they don't remember the enemy as well, and several of the vaccines that were built decades ago, the version 1.0 shots, were designed for a 30-year-old guard. They were built expecting a fast, powerful, young response. But if you're 68 years old, those old tools just don't do the job anymore. You are getting the weakest version of the protection exactly when you need the strongest version. That is the thread that runs through everything I'm about to tell you. Science has built a better answer, but the system just hasn't made it a priority to tell you the truth. So, let's look at the first one on my list. This is the one that really gets me fired up because it deals with a silent killer that stalks seniors every single winter. I'm talking about the vaccine for pneumonia. Now, most people hear the word pneumonia and they think it's just a bad week with a rough cough. They think you just stay in bed, drink some soup, and get over it. That is a dangerous lie. The bacteria behind this, something we call the pneumococcus, is one of the main reasons adults over 65 end up in the hospital. And I don't mean they go to the doctor's office, I mean they are admitted. They are on oxygen. They are in the intensive care unit. And pneumonia is actually the nice version of what this bacteria can do. It can travel to your brain. And that's pneumonitis, it can get into your blood. That's sepsis, which is when your whole body starts to shut down organ by organ. These aren't what-if stories. These happen every single day to people who thought they were protected. For decades, the vaccine we used was called PPSV23 or Pneumovax 23. If you've ever gone into the doctor and said, "I need my pneumonia shot," there is a 90% chance this is what they gave you. And you see that number 23? It sounds great, doesn't it? You think, wow, 23, that's a big number. It must protect me against 23 different types of bacteria. But this is where the version 1.0 trap catches you. This old vaccine uses something called technology that is failing you. Pneumovax works by showing your immune system a photograph of the threat. For that 30-year-old guard, a photograph is enough. He sees it. He remembers it. He stays alert. But for the 68-year-old guard, he looks at that blurry photo. He nods his head. And within a year or two, that memory is completely gone. The protection has vanished. This is in the data. This isn't my opinion. The people most likely to end up in the ICU are the ones getting the least protection from the very vaccine designed to save them. And then science did something remarkable. They built what we call a conjugated vaccine. This is the version 2.0. Instead of just handing the guard a photograph, this vaccine walks the threat directly into his office. This new vaccine clips the threat to a protein that your immune system already hates, something he recognizes instantly. He cannot ignore it. Even if he's tired, even if he's 70 years old, the whole system fires up. He builds a memory that stays. This vaccine is called PCV20 or Prevnar 20. Now your brain might say, but Dr. Kent, 20 is less than 23. No, because the depth, the strength of the protection from those 20 strains is so much more powerful that the extra 3 don't even matter. The CDC now lists PCV20 as the preferred choice, not an alternative, the preference. I have seen patients in my own practice who got the old Pneumovax years ago and truly believed they were safe. Some of them still ended up in the hospital, not because anyone wanted to fail them, but because they were using a flip phone tool in a smartphone world. When you see your doctor, I want you to say these words. I want the PCV20. I want the Prevnar 20. I do not want the old Pneumovax. Write that name down right now. That one name could be the only thing that keeps you out of an ICU bed this winter. Now, that one has a simple fix. But the next vaccine on this list, this is the one that doesn't make the headlines. This is the one that quietly moves into people's lives and never ever leaves. By the time most people understand what this disease has taken from them, they are already trapped. I had a patient recently, a retired teacher, 71 years old. She was active, she was sharp, she was the picture of health. She came in one spring with what she thought was just a pulled muscle. She felt a burning sensation under her arm. 3 days later, the rash appeared. We knew immediately it was shingles. She asked me, "How long will this last, Dr. Kent?" I told her the rash would clear up in a few weeks. But what I couldn't tell her, what I couldn't fully prepare her for, was what came after. 6 months later, the rash was gone. But the pain wasn't. She was still suffering from what we call postherpetic neuralgia. It's a deep, constant, electric burning pain. She couldn't even wear a shirt on that side. She stopped going to her book club. She stopped seeing her friends. She stopped being the person she was. Shingles is the reactivation of the chickenpox virus. If you had chickenpox as a kid, and if you're over 50, you definitely did. That virus never left you. It buried itself in your nerves like an ember under ash. It sits there for 50 years waiting for the guard to fall asleep. And when it wakes up, it is pure torture. People who have broken bones or had surgery tell me that shingles pain is 10 times worse. The vaccine I would never get is called Zostavax. For years, it was the only option. It was a live virus vaccine, a weak version of the virus to try and keep the guard alert. But here is the version 1.0 failure. In people over 80, the effectiveness of this shot was only 18%. 18. That is not a shield. That is a joke. Zostax is actually off the market in the US now, but I mention it because so many people think they are covered because they got a shingles shot 10 years ago. If you got the old shot, your protection is likely 0. The version 2.0 is called Shingrix, and I will tell you something I rarely say. Shingrix is close to a perfect vaccine. It uses a single protein and a siren. That adjuvant I talked about. It pulls every alarm in the building. Even at 80 years old, it is over 90% effective. It is the real upgrade. It is the difference between whispering to your immune system and screaming at it with a megaphone. Yes, it's 2 doses. Yes, your arm might be sore for a day. I tell my patients that soreness is not something going wrong. That is the sound of your immune system waking up. That discomfort is the sound of real protection being built. A sore arm for 1 day is a very small price to pay to avoid years of nerve pain that could ruin your retirement. If you had the old shot or no shot at all, you need to ask for Shingrix by name. Now, do you see the pattern here? The same tired guard, the same outdated tool, the same gap between the old stuff and the new science. This pattern is about to appear again with the flu shot. Every fall, millions of people do the same ritual. They roll up their sleeve, they get the flu shot, and they go home thinking they are handled. But here is what the person at the pharmacy counter isn't telling you. There are multiple versions of the flu vaccine sitting in that fridge, and if you don't speak up, they are going to give you the standard dose by default. The standard dose was built for a 30-year-old guard. It was built for someone whose body reacts fast and aggressively. If you are over 65, that standard dose doesn't wake up your system. It's like a light tap on the shoulder when you need a bucket of cold water. And remember, the flu is not just a cold for people our age. It opens the door for pneumonia to walk right in. It causes inflammation that can trigger a heart attack or a stroke. Between 70 and 85% of all flu deaths happen in people over 65 every single year. This is a serious threat, and the system is giving you a version 1.0 shield. So scientists built the version 2.0 specifically for you. It's called Fluzone High Doses. If the regular amount isn't enough to wake up the guard, we use 4 times as much. It's like sending in 4 battalions instead of 1. The data shows it provides 24% better protection. That means 24% fewer people in a hospital bed. The other option is called Fluad. It uses that siren technology to force the guard to pay attention. Both of these are the preferred choice for seniors, but unless you ask, they will reach for the cheap standard version every single time. This fall, before that needle touches your skin, I want you to stop them. Ask, do you have the high doses version for seniors? If they don't have it, don't just say, oh well, give me the regular one. No. Find a place that has the right armor for your age. It takes 5 minutes to find the right pharmacy, and it could save you a month in the hospital. The next one is different. This one isn't even about protecting yourself. This is about the people who cannot protect themselves. And when people get this one wrong, which I see all the time, it is the hardest part of my job to witness. I had a family in my practice. The grandmother had a lingering cough for a few weeks. She didn't think much of it. She just figured it was a bug she couldn't shake. Her daughter had just brought home a new baby, a perfect, healthy little girl, only 7 pounds. The grandmother drove 2 hours to meet her. Of course she did. She sat down. She held that tiny baby close to her chest. She kissed her forehead. She whispered to her. She had been waiting 9 months for that moment. She had no idea she was carrying whooping cough. For the grandmother, it was just an uncomfortable cough. But for that baby whose lungs are the size of 2 fists and who hasn't had any vaccines yet, whooping cough is a death sentence. Their airways fill up with gunk. They can't breathe. They turn blue. Some end up on ventilators. Some suffer permanent brain damage. Some of them never come home from the hospital. I have sat with those families, and the thing that makes it impossible to stand is that it was completely preventable. It takes 1 shot. It takes 5 minutes. Most adults think they are covered because they get a tetanus booster every 10 years. They get the TD shot, tetanus and diphtheria. They feel responsible, but the TD shot does not cover whooping cough. Your childhood protection against whooping cough is gone by the time you're 50. You can carry it and not even know it's dangerous. The version 2.0 is called Tdap. It's one extra letter, the P for pertussis. It's the same shot, it's just complete. It protects you, and more importantly, it makes you a shield for that baby. If there is a baby coming into your family, do not wait for your 10-year booster. Go now. Get the Tdap. Make sure your arms are the safest place in the world for that child. Don't let your hug be the thing that puts them in danger. And finally, we have the co-virus. It hasn't stopped changing. Every few months, there is a new variant, a new disguise. The shots from 2021 were a miracle. But they were looking for a face that the virus doesn't wear anymore. It's like that security guard memorized one specific face. And now, a different person is trying to walk through the door. The guard hesitates. He's not sure. And in that hesitation, the virus wins. Scientists update the formula every year now. Just like the flu shot, the version 1.0 boosters from 2 years ago are like using a map of a city from 1950. You're going to get lost. The only one I recommend is the seasonally updated formula, not last year's, not a booster from 18 months ago. One question is all it takes. Is this the updated formula for the current season? That question gets you the right answer every single time. 5 vaccines, 5 situations where the default option, the one they hand you without saying a word, falls short of what science has built for you. I want you to take a screenshot of this list. I want you to write it down on a piece of paper and put it in your wallet right now. For pneumonia, PCV20 or Prevnar 20, accept nothing else. For shingles, Shingrix, 2 doses. It's the only way to be safe. For flu, high dose or fluad, demand it. For tetanus, Tdap, do it for the grandkids. For COVID, the current updated formula for this season. None of us are getting younger. I'm not, and you're not. And there is a version of getting older where the system just lets you down, where you get sick from things you thought you were protected against, but it doesn't have to be that way. The version 2.0 tools are sitting on the shelf right now. They are usually covered by insurance. The only thing standing between you and real protection is knowing which name to say. Now you know. Please share this video with someone you love. Send it to your spouse, your friends, or anyone you know who just turned 60, because right now that person is probably getting the old weak version. They think they are covered, but they aren't. One conversation, one name. Sometimes that is the entire difference. Sometimes that one choice is the difference between a healthy year and a tragedy. I'm Dr. Michael Kent. Thank you for trusting me with your time. It is a privilege to be your YouTube doctor and to help you navigate this confusing world of modern medicine. Remember, getting older is something that happens to everyone, but staying version 1.0 is a choice. Choose the science, choose the version 2.0, choose the best life possible for you and the people who love you. I'll be right here with you, making sure your best years are truly yet to come. Stay safe, stay smart, and choose the upgrade. I'll see you in the next.